Hello and welcome back to another episode of Model Fix and sunny England. My name's Dan and today we are fixing. We're going to fix the lovely stereo in my Nissan Cube. As you can see, I'm in the pimp machine now. Give me two and I'll tell you why it's poo. Okay guys, so this is the current setup. We have the Pioneer head unit here, which is decent. It has an SD card reader. You could put a USB drive in it and read music directly off that. Sound quality is decent. It's got a MOSFET 50 times 4 amp built in, so it's really good. But it doesn't have Bluetooth, and I really want Bluetooth so I can connect my phone to it and stream music and make phone calls and stuff like that. And it's just a bit old hat really. So the other thing I've got is this 7-inch screen. It's a Hitachi screen and it's all very nice. The only purpose that it serves is for a reverse camera, and it's pretty poor to be honest. So I'll show you that now. Turn it on. Look at the quality of that. I mean, I know you're watching through a camera, but this is terrible. I mean, it's a bit fuzzy. The contrast is too high. The camera's not even dirty, and it doesn't really work. Screen basically is a waste of space. I mean, I can get a nice double DIN unit in here with all the functionality of both of these, plus more. I've got a nice little 1080p camera as well to replace the existing one. And this is the unit that will be replacing it all. It's a nice cheap Chinese unit which can be bought on Amazon, and it has some half decent features on it. So let's have a look at the side of the box here. Main thing I'm interested in is 1080p video format. It's got 60 times 4 MOSFET amp, which is a bit hard to believe, but let's check it out later. And then the other thing that it has is BT function, which is what I'm interested in. So 1080p for the camera, BT function. And the other thing that not a lot of people know about is you can do screen mirroring on this thing with a cable. So I'll demo that to you later on. Let's do the install first and see how we get on in this lovely, beautiful rain. Look at that. Okay guys, so I've removed the interior bit, whatever you want to call it. A bit rusty in here. I'm going to treat that at some point. Very windy, as you can probably hear. Weather is terrible, so don't expect a beautiful video today. And then this is the existing camera, so I want to trace the wires which are here. I'm presuming that one's some sort of live, but then I've got a dead end here, so maybe it's not. And then I've got an earth here and all this crap here. So what I'm going to do is chase that wire down and replace it with the new camera wiring. And this, if by magic, here is the new camera, also purchased of Amazon. I'll show you how that works and how good it is once we've got it all plugged in. Okay guys, so as you can see, handily there's a little venting duct over here which you can route the cables through for the camera. Only problem is I have to get these two plugs through, so I'm gonna have to do a bit of jiggery pokery and see if I can get those through now. Okay, so instead of rewiring the new camera from scratch, we might use some of this old wiring. So there's a brown wire that taps into the side light. There's a red wire that taps into the reverse light. So the wiring instructions for this thing are a bit poor, to say the least. Make of that what you will, but bit poo to be honest, so I'm going to try and work it out, and I'll get back to you. Okay, so I've got the plugs through that little vent there, as you can see here. I only need this red wire, this one, because that goes to the reverse camera, so I'll snip that and join it where I need to join it. This brown wire here goes to the side lights and goes off down there somewhere, so I'm not quite sure what that's for at the moment, but not interested in it for this job. Revisit it another time, I guess. So let's snip that. Okay, there's one live wire from this plug here that goes to the reverse light and powers the camera, and then there's one live which goes with the AV out and connects to the stereo, so that gives the stereo a signal to say you can switch now, I'm connected. I think on that Chinese one I don't need it, but I wired it up anyway, and I can always just dead end it if I don't need it. So that's been crimped and heat shrinked. You can solder it if you want, but this will do for this, I think. It's inside the car anyway. Okay, the earth for the power to the camera is going to go inside there and then out of there and then onto that 10mm bolt there. That's the closest one I can find. There might be one somewhere around here, but can't find it. Okay, and that's done. Nice neat job there. No wires to be seen apart from here, so that's good. And the pluggies there, lovely. This is just dirt, by the way, it's not all rust. Just gotta run all of this now inside the vehicle. So, I'm gonna tuck it under here first, and then tuck it under there, under this trim panel, and then go down the front, under this trim panel, and then round the glove box and to the center console. Okay, so I've routed the new wire all the way down to here, and just pull that through. So I've routed the wire all the way down to here, as you can see, nice and tidy, all tucked in. And then I've been following the old wire, and a nice interesting thing is all these trims come off quite easily. And then you've got a little panel here that just clips off, and then this wire goes all the way up in here. And if you can see it, there it is, and over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo the stereo now and see if I can see what I can see down here to grab it. Okay guys, so it's stereo removal time now. So in order to remove this whole surround here, what I need to do is pull out the ashtray, stick that to the side anywhere, and then you'll see these two screws. So undo those two screws, and then it all clips out. So let me just quickly do that and I'll be right with you. Okay, so those two screws are out now. So what you do is you give it a gentle pull from here, from the bottom. You see that, how it's all come loose? And then you just gently pull it, and you give it a gentle pull from the top as well, and away it comes. What you got to try and do is make sure your gear shifter is in neutral or drive, and then those two switches there, the hazards and the shift light, you need to unplug those. So give me a second. Okay, I've put it in drive, and it brings it nice and low for us, obviously without starting the engine, just on accessory. And then if you give this a little tug here, look, away it all comes. Now it might be a bit difficult to film this, so I'm not going to do it live, but you need to pull out those two plugs there. So this one here, if you've got the CVT manual shift anyway, so you need to pull this one out here, and then you need to pull this one out here. You need to press those little tabs in. With my fat fingers and biting my nails, my fingertips are not very strong, so I'll use a screwdriver to push those out. Okay, so those two are out, so that's free from here. However, you have got another plug down there, so let me get that one out as well. And there you have it. The center console cover thing is off. Someone's fitted this rather ridiculous 3-socket cigarette thing, which is useful, but a bit of a crap job, so I'm going to replace that with a USB jobby, I think. See where that goes to. I think it just splices into the existing cigarette lighter socket. Okay, moving on to the stereo then. You can see these two screws here, two screws here, and you can pull out the unit. Let me just undo those and show you. Okay guys, so the 4 screws are out. Let's see what's behind here, shall we? Oh, okay. So I think this needs to come out first. Oh, that's nice. Lots of little circuit boards and tape. Right. got a plug in there somewhere, so I'll pull that out in a minute. So someone's done a beautiful job of this. There's a load of circuit boards. It's a Hitachi screen, decent quality I guess, in its day. And then we've got all these little circuits. Looks like someone's actually put this together. I don't know how they've done it. If anybody knows what all this is, then feel free to enlighten me. But anyway, so all this was taped down. I'll put all nice and flat. There's a plug in here, which is the one that I've been uprooting from behind, I think. Should pull out soon, hopefully. And then the stereo. So the stereo here has a load of wires here. So let me just pull that out and I'll show you that. so I've just noticed this lovely thing here. Look at this. This was there. I don't know what it's made out of. Lots of insulation tape and something underneath to hold the screen in position so it doesn't move back when you press the on-off switch. And then you've got the double-sided sticky at the top, holding the top bit in. It's padded as well. Lovely. Okay, so the old stereo's out. I just unplugged it from the back because the wiring looked like a bit of a mess. It's a decent unit, but not what I want anymore. So, and then you've got these brackets which look pretty sturdy. So I'll screw those into the lovely new stereo over there. I've got all this lovely wiring here. Now what someone's done is this Pioneer plug here, they've spliced into the existing loom but left the existing plugs also, which is quite handy really, because I know it all works, so I'm not really going to muck about with it. I mean, I know a lot of you are going to go, oh, why don't you sort out the wiring and look at it, it's a mess, but it works. So for now I'm just going to leave it. When I find time and I can be bothered, I'll root around and I'll sort it all out, but don't look too bad. I might open one of these connectors and have a look, but I think what they've done is just sort of put a bullet connector in and sandwiched a wire in there. What I've actually done is I've bought from Halfords, our lovely friends, this little thing. So it's a Nissan to ISO connector, plug and play. And that was £9, and that will go straight into the back of this. Plug into the Nissan plugs, that one, and into the back of that, and an earth. And I'll just replace that earth there, which is going to the Pioneer plug, with this one, and there you go. This is very bizarre. So I was 100% right when I was saying it looks like they've just spliced the wires into this. So what they've done is they've cut the original Nissan loom, put bullet connectors in, and then they've put the Pioneer plug wires in there through the bullet connector and twisted it around and then plugged it in and then taped it up. I don't know what to say to that, to be honest. But anyway, I'm just going to untwist them all and plug them all back in and insulate them. Okay, so you'll be proud of me, guys. I've taken the Pioneer loom out, so that's gone, and now we just have these bullets that are connected to the Nissan plugs. What I'm going to do is I'll tidy this up a little bit more, maybe put some heat shrink around these so they don't come apart, or some insulation tape. That one looks a bit dodgy there, doesn't it? I'll sort that out as well. And then another thing was that I found that this plug here was terrible. The wires had frayed and someone had got soldering them and all sorts. So I pulled out all the pins and soldered all the wires back onto the pins properly, put some heat shrink on them, and put it all back together again. And this plug here, this plug actually comes apart. So if you push those two little tabs in and those two little tabs in there, then this top part comes off and all the pins will come out. So if you're ever stuck and you've got really short wires on the pins, that all comes apart and the pins all just pop out, and then you can do what you need to do and put it all back together. And that's what I just did. So that's all nice and brand new again. And then we've got the wires here. I'm just gonna secure those with a bit of insulation tape or heat shrink so they stay together, because they're not going to be coming apart again. And as you can see, I'm using the ISO connector now, and the ISO connector has had its earth into that little where is it, into that bolt there, so it's nicely earthed there. So that's nearly done. Okay, so that's what I was going to do to all of the connectors, just to make sure they stay together. Put a bit of heat shrink on them, melt it down, and Bob's your uncle. So I prepared them all, but I don't think I'm going to do it yet, because I just want to check that everything works and it's as it's supposed to be, and I don't need to cut any wires or need to splice into any wires. So I think it'd be a wise move to do that later. So let's go back to the AV cable from the camera and let's get that threaded through. So it seems apparent that the wire goes through there and runs across to here, and in order to get to it, I think I need to remove the glove box, and there's 2 screws underneath that I've already taken out. 1, 2. So let's give this a little tug and see where it comes to. Ah, there we go. So that all comes out by the looks of it, and the heater vent thing as well. So let's get that out of the way, and we have some wires here, so now it'll be a lot easier to thread the wire through. So I'll bring it through the side, up here, across, and then into here. Lovely. Okay, so that's done. I've put all the panels back on now. I put the wire just underneath this. This one comes off quite easy. As you can see, it's quite loose still. There we go. It's back on. And then this one just clips back in. The wire goes up here. Grab it from here and then pass it around here. And then what I did was the old wire, I tied it to the new one and pulled it through. So that was lovely. I don't know what this is for. It's just laying there. So might need to do some digging around to find out what that is. And there was a whole bunch of wiring that I removed that was to do with the old camera. And here, this baby here was sitting behind the dash. So I removed all of that. That was to do with the old screen. That was sitting behind here like that. So that's all been pulled out. So that's good. And that had a feed and a negative going to cigarette lighter socket there. That was a twist and tape job as well, and I've removed the twisty and I've taped it up without that. So I might actually use that same point to wire in my USB socket. Okay, so it would seem that the backup camera won't work, and that's because on this ISO loom that I've bought, there's no pink wire. And what I found out was on this baby here, this pink wire needs a trigger from this live, which I wired into the reverse, and that brings up the little grid, the grid lines. So I need to wire that into this plug somehow. So let me see if I can pull that pin out and put it in there. If I can do that, that would be amazing. So to remove a pin out of an ISO connector, you need to stick something in both sides of the pin here and here. So I failed to find anything in the garage that was thin enough to put in there, so I'm using these little kebab skewer things that I found in the kitchen. So you stab it in there, and then pull it out. Let me just show you that. Okay, so as you can see, I've stabbed one in either side. Now it's hard to do this with one hand, but let me try. Should be able to pull this pink one out now. And there we go. Where is it? It's out. So as you can see here, I probably squashed it a little bit too much, but you can see that there's this little tab, and that's what you need to squash. So I'm going to pull all that out again and then push it into the other plug, and we have the wire that we need. Yay! Okay, I've just pushed that into the ISO connector with the Nissan bit on it, and let's get that plugged in and see if it works. Okay, so I've got it all plugged in now, and I've got that reverse wire set up. I'll just demonstrate that to you guys. So here we go, go into reverse, and there we go. Look how beautiful that is and clear compared to the old one. I mean, it's night and day, isn't it, really? Let me just give you a quick look at where I've mounted the reverse camera. So I've mounted the reverse camera just here, and I've used an existing screw up here to trap the bracket, and it's pretty firm in there. It's just to the left of the reverse lights, and it works pretty well. Look, I'll just wiggle it around. It's not going anywhere. Just going to fit the glove box back in, and then put all the fascia back on. I've got a little cubby box that might fit here, so let me just pull that out and have a look. That's actually from my 200SX over there. Okay, so I've managed to get the cubby hole in nice. However, I've closed this gap now, and I've introduced a gap at the top. So the head unit actually had 4 screws in it, and the bottom 2 screws were slightly slanted, so the head unit was facing a little bit upwards, and because of that reason it closed the gap up top, but that's why there was a gap at the bottom. So I've taken the bottom 2 screws out and straightened the unit out, and that's created this little gap at the top now. So let me see if I can do something about that gap up there. Okay, this is where a bit of Blue Peter comes in handy. Get your favourite cereal box, bit of cardboard, bit of insulation tape, and I'll show you what happens with that. Okay, so we've got this little right angle piece of cardboard here. Okay, and that has been vinyl wrapped in insulation tape. So that's done. Now, next step is to make sure it's nice and bendy and at 90 degrees. Right, so can you see what I've done here? Dun, dun, dun. There we go, I've created a nice blank by the top of the stereo using a bit of cardboard and insulation tape. And that was a little bit of learning taken from the previous owner by that garbage that he created around the old stereo. Look at that, worked like a dream. No more gaps. Yay! Okay guys, I think I'm going to call it a wrap on this video here, because we've just about covered all of the stereo install, and I'm conscious that not all of you want to see the USB socket install. I mean, if you do want to see it, go ahead and watch the second part to the video. I'm going to split it in 2 parts: Nissan Cube stereo install with reverse cam part 1, and then Nissan Cube stereo install with USB socket part 2, something like that. So yeah, if you are interested, go ahead and watch the second video, but I'm just conscious not everyone will be, and it's making the video too long. So I'm going to cut it short there. If you did like the video, please do hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and more importantly, hit the notifications button, because there is a lot more content coming. So I mean, I've been working my arse off on the car, to be honest. I've already changed the front wing, I've changed the rear tailgate, which was sketchy to say the least. Lots could have gone wrong, and I'm blessed that it didn't. I've removed the rear bumper, I'll do a video on that. I've removed the rear tail lights, I'll do a video on that. All in the aid of removing rust, so that's something I'm doing at the moment, and that included welding, so that's also been done. New wheels, tensioner pulley has been replaced because it was squeaking, and new steering wheel, and I'm sure there's bits that I've forgotten as well. So guys, seriously, if you like your cube and you like working on it, subscribe to the channel. Hope you enjoy the content. I'll see you later. Bye for now.